Guys, Dave here. How you doing? I'll tell you something. In our RV travels, traveling around this beautiful country of ours, one of the most popular questions we get, Yoko and I, are asked, "What do you guys eat? Where do you eat? How much do you eat? What kind of food? How do you cook?" So I'm going to share in this very short video with you today what we eat in a typical day. And I'll share something else with you too. I've been on a crusade to not only lose some pounds I picked up a few months ago, but to stay at an ideal weight. And I'll tell you something, I think RVing is a great way to do it because when I'm home, when I'm working, for some reason I don't know whether I get like bored or something, and I'm always like running to the pantry or running to the fridge or like taking a handful of nuts or something, like all the time, and I'm not even probably not hungry, but I just do it out of habit. But when you're on the road like this, I think it's a healthier way to go because you're not always reaching into the fridge or reaching into a bag of chips or something like that. So I'll share with you typically what we eat in a day. Now it varies totally day to day, but just give you some ideas. Now when I first wake up in the morning, I start off always a banana, and I have a cup of coffee. We have a really cool little Keurig coffee maker in here, so I make a cup of coffee. But I always try to have juice as well. When I'm at home, I drink a tremendous amount of juice, and on the road, I either try to go to a juice bar if at all possible, or have some juice in the fridge here, or juice that we make, or something like that. Now, also in the morning, I usually get up a little bit earlier. Yoko prepares some really nice cut up fresh fruit. And yesterday, let's see, what do we have yesterday? Yesterday it was kiwi, strawberry, blueberry. What else was in there? Maybe some apples. It was just cut up fresh organic fruit. Beautiful. You get that anywhere. They sell it at Walmart. I mean, you get fresh organic fruit anywhere. Um, Typically and I don't eat a lot. I try to eat very, very, very little for breakfast. That's been helping an incredible amount with my keeping my weight at my proper where it should be. Now, as we're driving in the morning, um, I try not to eat a lot at all. Actually, what I'll do if I feel like a little bit hungry, I'll ask Yoko to pass me a handful of nuts. We keep all kind of snack foods, like but healthy snack foods. I have to admit though, the other day I walked into a Walmart and I did buy a bag of corn chips. You know you know they're not that good for you, and I tried to make it a point not to have any chips at all because I'm not a chips person at all. I'm not a junk food person, not a processed food person really, in general. But we did buy one bag of chips, and it's taken us days and days and days, so it's very, very little. But I'll have like a handful of nuts or something as we're driving, a little bit here and there. Um, Lunchtime, we will just generally, if we can. Okay, here's what I'll typically do. I've got these rice cakes that I bought. You know, the kind that they're about this big right here. You know, rice cakes, um, and I will typically spread some peanut butter on them for lunch, and if I can grab another banana. And lunch is again, it's not a big deal. I don't eat a lot, and you'd be surprised. I'm starting to learn that I really think we as human beings, especially in the United States, we as human beings eat about twice as much as we really need to. Try one day or a few days in a row just eating like half portions, half of what you normally eat, and I'll tell you something, you're going to be fine. Trust me. We all especially as we get older, we tend to put on a little excess weight. If you're a man, it shows up in your belly fat. If you're a woman, I don't know, where it shows up in your hips. I'm not sure exactly, but it just shows up, and we don't need all this extra food that we're eating, but it's always at our disposal here, and it's just. And when I say here, I mean in the U.S. generally. It's just we have food surrounding us. So one thing Yoko and I will never do, ever, ever, never, is go to a fast food restaurant. We're never in a line at a fast food restaurant. But as we travel, if I'm driving, Yoko will do some research, and if we're going through a town that has like a really cool Asian restaurant or something, we'll stop either for a late lunch or early dinner. The other day, she found something where was it, in Kansas? It was what was that? I can't remember the name of the town. It was a small town, but there was an Asian restaurant that it was kind of like an Asian Chipotle, and Chipotle. It was a it was not a chain. It was individually owned. It was like just one of a kind, and they had like these beautiful like bowls, and you start off with like rice, and you pick a protein. So our protein, since we don't eat any meat at all, was edamame. And then you go down the line, and it was only one woman working there. We were the only ones because it was like probably at like 2 in the afternoon or something. It was like not really a lunch hour. So she gave us so much attention. She told us what was in all the foods, all the ingredients. We told her that we're vegan, and she said, okay. She was, and this, it was, I think, Salina, Kansas. Does that sound right? Salina, is it Salina maybe? But she had a lot of, this young woman had a lot of knowledge. She said, okay, well, she knew like every ingredient for every, like what was in everything. So she told us what we could eat, what we couldn't eat, and it was just, let me tell you something, it was delicious. So, and for dinner, it really varies. Sometimes we find a cool place on the road, we'll go to a restaurant. And again, typically what we like to do is if we find an Asian restaurant, because like not last night, but 2 nights ago, we found one that it's just so easy to find like vegan and vegetarian entrees on the menu. It typically at an Asian restaurant, and they're almost always accommodating. It's funny, I saw they had on something on the menu. It was salt and pepper shrimp. So the waitress was not real knowledgeable, but I asked her, I said, could you do me a favor? I see you have tofu here. Is there any way you can ask the chef if they can make me some salt and pepper tofu instead of the shrimp? And she said, it's like she never heard of it, but she said, okay, I'll go ask. She was really nice about it. And she said, if there's no problem, we'll just make it for you. And sure enough, 10 minutes later, I had this beautiful dish. It was, now it's not the healthiest stuff in the world, because I know it is like fried a little bit. I know that. But it was like fucking delicious, and I was oh man, it was beautiful. But we found something, like, I don't think this is necessarily cheating, but we found something that we've been eating at night sometimes if we just don't have a whole lot of time to cook, and we made something last night. And so here's what it is. We went into a local REI before we left, and we bought a whole bunch of these freeze-dried backpackers food. Now, when Yoko and I we've done extensive backpacking throughout the country, a lot in the Grand Canyon, where we would have to like carry everything that we needed for like a full week on our back. And so we've carried a bunch of these things, these freeze-dried foods, and this feeds 2. This is it's a double portion, 2 servings, as you can see right there. But this is pad thai, and basically all you do is you boil some water, and it says vegan, if you can see this, vegan and gluten-free. I mean, it's like my world. So you boil some water, put it in here, reseal it, let it sit for about 20 minutes or so. And let me tell you something, if this were served at a gourmet Thai restaurant, you wouldn't know the difference. That's how delicious this stuff has gotten. Now, in the old days of backpacking, this stuff tasted more like sawdust. It just wasn't all that good. But these companies that make this backpacking food now, they're so good. Now, it is processed food. It's not that. Let me see. Now, this is not that bad. It's not that bad, really. But last night we had some Korean bibimbap, all vegetarian, so there's no meat in it whatsoever. And I thought I was sitting in a fucking Korean restaurant at 8,000 feet in the mountains here. It was just delicious. Before we go to bed, we'll have generally some hot tea. I will cheat a little bit with my eating program. I have a little piece of dark chocolate before we get so some hot tea and some dark chocolate. I just love it. It's so delicious. I just love it. But it's really all we eat. Now we'll vary it up day to day, but this gives you an idea on a daily basis what we consume into our bodies, and it's not a tremendous amount of food. And guess what? I'm feeling healthy, I'm feeling alive, and I'm feeling strong. That's it. Thanks for being with me. Thanks so much for the follow. If you haven't followed yet, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please make sure you click subscribe so you get all of our videos. I'm going to drag Yoko into more. So she's a little camera shy, and sometimes she just thinks it's silly that I make all these videos. But we both really want to help others, because we're brand new at this stuff. But it's fun. It's a great lifestyle and a great way to travel. I'll talk to you soon. I'm Dave. Bye.